As a counselor, one of the things that I see that it affects a lot of my clients that are struggling with depression, anxiety, obsessive compulsive thought life, bipolar ups and downs, is that gut health is a huge part of understanding why my mental health is struggling. So, about 70% of what you eat is supposed to fuel your brain. That's a lot of our calorie intake. Now, if our gut is not able to process our food well, we're not able to absorb that material on that highway to our brain. And then that means our brain is deficient in the things that it needs to balance our mental health. Over the last couple of years, I really was questioning, why is it that some of my clients don't get better? I do all kinds of amazing, great therapy that works for 75, 80% of my clients, but I've got that last 10 or 20% of people that don't get better. And so that created a hunger in me to know more and to discover. This is Melissa Kelly with Rising Hope Counseling, and I'm so excited to bring to you how to improve your mental health by focusing on your gut health. So, one of the things that I've done is a deep dive into what we call nutritional psychology. And that's understanding how the microbiome of our gut and the foods that we're eating have an effect on our mental health. I have really began to understand that the food landscape we live in, that is all produced and made by major corporations, really don't have our best interest at heart. Their desire is to get us to eat more of the products that they make so they can sell more. And that all goes back to the wheat that was produced in the 1970s that actually makes us want more. It's an adverse side effect. Did you know that when you eat Oreos, when you eat M&Ms, when you eat your favorite chocolate cake, all of those things are going to have sugar in them. And when they do, it lights up that opiate center of our brain. Now, manufactured foods versus homemade foods are even going to light them up more. They're filled with all kinds of chemicals designed to make you want to eat more and feel good when you eat it. Now, a lot of those foods are just having a total inflammation causing process on our body. Recently, I was talking to someone from my church who was telling me that her husband has been struggling with back pain for 13 years, had all kinds of tests and medications, and nobody could figure out what was going on. And recently, they had heard about a connection to maybe some gluten sensitivity. And he actually went off gluten for their vacation, and it was the first time he didn't have back pain. And so he's now gone gluten free. Now, my case is yes, 20 years ago, I was a little bit of a roller coaster every day during the day, ups and downs, depending on what I was eating. I didn't realize that my body is super sensitive to lots of things that are causing this inflammation in my body that then affects my mental health. And so the first thing I did was do a histamine allergen panel and found out about 20 different foods that I was eating on a regular basis cause that inflammation, causing these spikes in blood sugars, these falls into depression that would happen throughout the day. And just eating continually to try to feel good, craving sweet foods and carbohydrates for those quick bits of energy. So I cut out dairy. That was a big one. I'm supposedly allergic to not only the protein, but the sugar also in dairy. So I really not eaten dairy in the last probably 12 years because of that. That helped stabilize my brain. I stopped having those ups and downs throughout the day. Recently, I stumbled on a video on YouTube by Dr. Davis. He's a cardiologist who wrote the book Wheat Belly. And he's done a deep dive into understanding the microbiome because he got tired of his patients also not getting better. And why do they have that layer of fat around the middle? And why is their heart having all these troubles? He is promoting L-Reuteri. L-Reuteri is a bacteria that all mammals have. whales and foxes, any mammalian animal, which includes humans. Now, humans had L-Reuteri in our guts. They could find it in there back as the early 1960s. Now, that's before I was born. But what they found was by the end of the 1960s, most Americans didn't have L-Reuteri in their guts anymore. And that's because L-Reuteri is super sensitive to antibiotics. It wipes it out. So at this point, most of us have either taken antibiotics ourselves or had our mothers take antibiotics and destroy their L-Reuteri. And so generationally now, we've got probably 3 generations of people with no L-Reuteri in their gut. Now, people who have never been exposed to modern medicine, they've been tested and they still have L-Reuteri in their gut. Amazing. But us Westerners, we do not. And what L-Reuteri does is it is a good, healthy bacteria that helps you break down your food. Each bacteria lives for about 3 hours, and when it dies, the other good bacteria in your gut like to feed on L-Reuteri, and that's amazing. And the bad bacteria doesn't like L-Reuteri. It won't feed on it. So that makes less available resources for the bad bacteria. One of the things that you can do is you can make your own yogurt. You can grab a very inexpensive $60 yogurt maker off of Amazon. And then you can go ahead and get the ingredients to make L-Reuteri. I ordered from Dr. Davis's website, especially blended L-Reuteri that's really high quality. Now you might be asking, why can't I just take the pill? And you can take the pill, but what happens is it only has so much bacteria in this little tiny capsule that you can swallow. And yeah, when you put it into milk to make a yogurt-like substance out of it, it is going to every 3 hours double in bacteria. A slow fermentation process. They recommend 36 hours for a nice sour yogurt experience. That half a cup or so of yogurt that you're going to eat is going to have hundreds of thousands of more of the L-Reuteri in it than you can fit in one capsule. And so that's why we make the yogurt. Now, you also will need inulin powder. It's made from artichoke. It is kind of like this fiber that's going to feed your L-Reuteri. I did some research and they recommend that the inulin is better for yogurt making versus the potato starch. You need milk and you need inulin powder and you need L-Reuteri to make the most basic yogurt. It's going to have an amazing effect on your skin health. Now, I have struggled with adult acne. I'm turning 49 today, and until just the last few weeks, have always had blackheads and acne. And as I've gone through the menopause stages, it's gotten worse. And so really, my skin looks beautiful 6 weeks into yogurt making and yogurt eating. I'm amazed. It's nice and lovely. Now, another aspect of this yogurt is there's probably a lot of you out there who are struggling with digestive issues, and you maybe have what they call Sebo, the overgrowth of bacteria. You've got that leaky gut syndrome. Now, Sebo yogurt has L-Reuteri in it, but it also has a few other ingredients. It's going to have this probiotic called Bacterial in it, and it is another bacteria that's healthy and good for your gut. And antibiotics also kills this. And then your other ingredient is going to be just some Digestive Advantage Daily Probiotic. It's a 4-in-1. So the Sebo recipe is, again, for 2 of these quart-sized containers. I like to mix it up in a big bowl. So I put in my 1 capsule of my Gaceri, 10 capsules of my L-Reuteri, and 1 capsule of my digestive aid. And I put that straight into the milk. Actually, I put in just a couple tablespoons of milk first, like a quarter of a cup or half a cup at the most. And I mix slurry. That's where we take these dry ingredients and mix it into the smaller part. And I really try to make sure I get all the clumps out with my whisk and my inulin powder and get all those clumps out. And then I add the rest of the milk to the container. Once I get that all mixed up, then I'm going to pour it into my bowls. I actually use the A2 milk. So A2 milk is a different version of cow that doesn't produce as much milk per milking, but it's a easier to digest. And so for somebody who has struggled with dairy, going with A2 is a great option. And I'm finding that I don't have any problems with A2 milk to make my yogurt. Adding all this bacteria to the yogurt and do this slow growth, it's going to actually change the protein molecules and change the way that the sugars are too, and make it less inflammatory and easier to digest. That's why for tens of thousands of years, humans have been eating yogurt across cultures because they can ferment it. It lasts longer that way. But many of these ancient cultures all have some sort of fermented yogurt product that they eat as part of their culture. And then you're going to take your water and you're going to pour it in your container up to where your batch starts in your yogurt container. So that's it. Then you plug in your machine, put the lid on, and then you're going to set the timer for 36 hours. And you're going to set the temperature to 106 degrees. Now, I know not everybody is going to want to run out and buy a yogurt maker. If you've got an Instapot, if it's a full-size big one, you can put your yogurt in quart jars, put it straight into your Instapot, set it for 36 hours at 106 degrees, and you'll have yogurt. So now, once you get your first batch made, I'm going to let you know it's going to be a little runny. Going to have a lot of whey. It's going to be kind of separated. You're going to get some like white stuff on the top and some liquid on the bottom. And that's okay. That's your first batch. Just know it turned out fine. We've come to the end of making our first batch of yogurt, and I hope that you enjoy it and begin to rebuild your gut health for better mental health. In the next video, you're going to learn about how to make the yogurt making process easier, including how to have a mother batch, the mother load of starting all of your future yogurt batches. So tune into that. I can't wait to see you soon.